This is your Boom Radio's Boom Bar on a Tuesday afternoon or evening or morning or night. But it's afternoon in Lagos anyway. And we are here to talk about topical issues that's going on in and around the world, specifically in the areas of politics, sports, music, entertainment, and everything in between. Everything in between could be like a boring movie that some people have just been talking about.
That was not you are moving the goal.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's everything in between.
Any conversation like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyhow,
I don't know what you're talking
moving
about.
on. Dolupo has
anyway
a teeny bit of the intro, and the rest of the body will come later.
Yeah, basically there's woo woo woo. We're talking about football. I don't know. There are not a lot of things that excite me a lot. I think that weirdly, compared to a lot more people, football actually does excite me, which I don't see a lot of women, but it does. My preference. Yeah, we're gonna be talking a lot of football. Like SR said yesterday, the Premier League is back, so there's going to be a few reviews of a lot of games that happened yesterday. There's previews of games today. Also there's been one transfer, back and forth. Basically, just about sports we're going to be talking about. A few updates of things that we're talking about, we spoke about yesterday. Also, there's also a bit of political stories. There's a bit of finance stories we're going to be talking about. So yes, basically just sit back, relax. This, like you said, it's everything: politics, music, entertainment, and everything else in between. And as the spirit leads, however and wherever it carries us, we go there. Now, I bless the Lord. I magnify his name. You are not even asking why I'm doing so.
I didn't know you were done.
You should ask. But anyway, it's beef.
Really?
When people are angry. Anyway, and see yourself. Mm-hmm. Anyway, really, basically, I was talking.
You're basically, becoming like a comedian now.
No, I'm not.
But it's fine.
Anyway, I was really talking about the Premier League. We're going to start with the Premier League today. And we're starting with yesterday's games, reviews of yesterday's games. We saw some interesting football. Before we left the bar yesterday, they had played the Tottenham game. Was I think it ended in a draw 2-2 yesterday. The Tottenham almost lost that game. Brentford Tottenham, they actually almost lost that game yesterday, but at least half loaf is better than nothing. They came out with 1 point off that game yesterday. Then moving to Crystal Palace Fulham, where honestly I thought that Crystal Palace been doing better for a while, and then Fulham came and kaboom. And I think that I almost agree with it almost worked with basically a lot of games yesterday where as I had been talking about it, that the break is definitely going to cause a bit of drama and issues. So where there we see Fulham defeating Crystal Palace at home 3-0. Did you see that coming?
Fulham Crystal Palace, one of those games that you probably won't be able to predict, even if you claim to be a pundit and all of that.
I would have bet on Crystal Palace actually. Weirdly.
But Fulham have been pulling some interesting results this season, and they've not been exactly a team to push aside completely. I'm not saying they're fantastic. I'm not saying they are Newcastle-ing it, or you get, the team, the real team.
Which real team?
The Castle, man, Newcastle, baby.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I didn't see it coming, but it wasn't that much of a surprise.
Oh, okay. It's very 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 interesting game there. Also yesterday we saw Everton and Wolves. Wolves defeating Everton. I'm not sure. It was surprising. Everton has not been doing very. They weren't doing very well before the break, and you would have thought that the break would have probably helped some people. At least gives themselves some. But here we are. They are back again to losing ways. Anyway, another one that I think that this one with everybody's form, you probably could not totally predict this one, but this one looked like it was just embarrassing when Newcastle defeated Leicester 3-0.
Yeah, Leicester are looking like candidates for the drop. They've not had an amazing season. You find it out that this was the same Leicester that was qualifying for Champions League and playing in Europe and won the league. They're almost like a total shadow of themselves. Could be as a result of the death of the owner. Maybe the current management is not doing well. Could be the fact that the management, the coach, probably needs to be kicked out, and they need someone to, turn things around for them. Because they're wallowing there in a place where they shouldn't be.
Yeah, they're almost in relegation.
Yeah.
So they are definitely wallowing. The last 5 games, they've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 3 games. They're not doing very well. And in the case of Newcastle, they are second. I can't remember last time. I'm not sure. Since I've been watching football, I'm not sure I've ever seen Newcastle be this high up on the table. Now, for them to remain there would mean that Man City has to lose the next game. Because now they've bumped Man City to 3rd, but Man City's played only 14 games, so they still have 2 games at hand. Newcastle has played 16. Even Arsenal, that is topping the table, still has 1 game at hand. I think they have that game with Man City that was cancelled at that point. So yes, we'll see how that goes. But Newcastle is not doing badly at all. Also, Southampton and Brighton, where we saw Brighton also defeat Southampton 3-1. Looks like 3-1 and 3-0 was the order of the day yesterday.
That's what it is, man.
This one too, I think it was kind of very difficult to predict what was what. The next one, Aston Villa and Liverpool. It was. I think that Liverpool is beginning to get their juice back little by little.
It shows a team that has class and pedigree, regardless of what you want to think about them. Not kicking off from where they left off last season. Like they struggled in the first 17 games. It's not been the Liverpool that we have been used to. Under Jurgen Klopp. But yesterday, people were like, oh, they didn't play. No, they got the result.
They got the result. Yeah, at the end of the day.
Another amazing piece of news came through for them. Something that it's the fillip that they need, to get their season going after losing out on such a talismanic player like Sadio Mane. The guy they are getting is not exactly Sadio Mane, but they're getting a forward-minded player.
They definitely need
who
that.
would add, a bit of value to them. Cody Gakpo is a deal that is
they definitely
is
need
done.
I'm talking about that. I saw a lot of tweets about people knocking Manchester United for letting that deal slip away from them.
It didn't slip away from Man United. A lot of people will talk based on what they think they know. So let me talk based on what I know also. So they had the option of buying Cody Gakpo or Anthony.
Yeah.
And they went for Anthony. Gakpo didn't hide the fact that he wanted to play for Man United. And United couldn't buy 2 strikers because then they 2 wingers, because these guys are not strikers. Cody Gakpo scores. He plays a lot of assists, but he's not an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
United had Ronaldo, and they have Martial and Rashford. So
it's
they're
unnecessary.
not going to buy Gakpo and Anthony in the same window. So they didn't need Gakpo. That's why they went for Anthony. Now, what they need is an out-and-out striker. He is not.
He's not.
If you
Makes sense.
and this is what causes problems for a lot of teams, and that's why I think I respect this Eric Ten Hag guy. If you go and buy a guy because he had a good World Cup or he has scored so many goals in the Eredivisie, then you bring him to the Premiership and put him in your position number 9, the top striker, and he doesn't get the result because that's not his role.
Yeah,
you start to say, "Oh, it was a poor buy." Da. So he fits into the Liverpool team because they need someone who can play behind Nunes, who can play behind Salah and play beside them too. United already have that.
What different? Every team
they already have
their
that.
Own.
What they need is a striker, and that's why they didn't buy this guy. Not like they couldn't afford to. Yeah. But hey, it's banter, and if we don't have banter, football is not.
I'm talking about someone that looks like he has plans to move quickly. Is the person that is linked to Arsenal, there was a picture yesterday that he had posted. Modric, where he had posted watching Arsenal play yesterday.
He watched the game live. He was dropping comments during the game and even after. Then again, there are about 2 or 3 posts that mention his name with a move to Arsenal, and he went there and liked those posts too. So it's obvious that a deal might have been struck
already, because
he's signed to another team, and if he does that and the team don't want him to leave or they're not selling him, he's going to get into trouble and all of that. So he is most likely going to become an Arsenal player.
So talking about Arsenal, the last game of yesterday ended 3-1. It was a very interesting first half. There was a penalty for West Ham, and it looked like, okay, was this game just going to drag on like this? Like, okay, what was happening? And I think every day that I watch Arsenal games, I think I begin to have more respect for Arteta.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm so glad that he's the one that has become, the guy to take Arsenal out of the doldrums. It's been a terrible couple of years for the Arsenal, a team that has so much potential, but never gets what it. At some point, Arsenal dropped out of Europe.
Oh yeah, completely.
A team that under Wenger would always be in the Champions League, no matter what happens.
No matter what happens.
Worst case scenario, top four.
Yeah, they're not playing European football.
I'm glad that it's Arteta that has done it. And again that the management are patient with him. They're supporting him.
And he's getting the results.
He's definitely
getting the results. Yesterday we saw Saka start on the 53rd minute, then Martinelli and Nketiah. I like the fact that they have players now that can step up in case of a normal day. Jesus will play this game.
Yes, that's why we talk about squad depth. Like again, something that was lacking in the last couple of years. If you're going to build a strong team, you need at least 2 players for every role. There are 11 positions in football, and you need at least, so you're talking about at least 22 players that are almost on the same level.
Yeah, almost on the same level. Smith Rowe was also did not play this game as well. He was injured.
He's not. So that is what you're saying now, where they're able to ask a Saka to step up or switch to this place, or Eddie Nketiah, can you play the Jesus role? He gets a bit of support. Then Odegaard, the magician, bringing his flair into the team and all of that, and that's what you get when you have squad depth. But it's not as thick as Man City's depth.
No, please, they are on another level.
You are walking on a thin piece of glass, like of ice, and you can fall in at any time.
So Arsenal
So Arsenal must show up and buy more players and not just buy players for the sake of buying.
They need to buy.
We're talking about
good.
the quality of that. Like I said, the
Keep up
quality
that pace.
should not be far apart. Like if there's a ranking of maybe 9 for your right winger, the next person that you're buying should be a 8 or a 7. You know, but not a 3 or a 4. As you think, we bought player. No, it's not just to buy; it's to buy quality.
Yeah, quality.
You know?
There's a lot of depth in that. There. Now today's game, as we see, is going to be Chelsea Bournemouth. This one, I am honestly, we know that Chelsea has not been doing very, very well, but I am, except there's something else wrong, I do not see Chelsea not winning this game. Same goes for Manchester United that is going to play with Nottingham Forest. But remember that the only issue is that Nottingham Forest has not been doing badly at all.
The thing about Man United is that you still can't bet on them. Mm-hmm. You still can't go to sleep and say, it's Man United. Don't worry, they'll beat anybody. No. It's the only team you can do that for now at the moment is Man City. Not even with the nice result that Arsenal got yesterday. It's City that you can be like, there's Ireland now. Don't worry.
But we've seen, but even this season, we've seen even Man City. I think they've lost one game.
I'm not talking about the fact that someone lost or didn't lose. I'm talking about a team that you can hear fixtures and say, Man City.
No, I get what you're saying. You know, the one that hurts me about Man City is the fact that the games where they drop points are the ones that you do not expect.
That's football. That's life. But still, they are more consistent at getting results than any team in the Premier League in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm feeding off that to say that if I hear Nottingham Forest, Man City, I'll be like, I better go to sleep. Man City will win. As against when I hear Man United, Man City, and I know United fans will not like this, but it's the truth. They're extremely inconsistent. Before you know it, they're trailing at home. They've conceded in the first 10 minutes, and they're chasing the game.
Trying to struggle.
Then, if they eventually get a draw, they start to celebrate. And you see, a game that you should have won.
You should have won.
So that's why I'm basing it off. Then for Chelsea, I actually would predict a Chelsea victory. I know that their opponents are not pushovers, but I think Chelsea has enough, in the engine to take them across the line.
Yeah. Okay. We definitely will see how that goes. Before we leave sports, something very interesting that I saw earlier today that I think that is worthy of note is the just concluded World Cup. I know that we had talked about it, and then you had even gone on to say that regardless of what anybody wants to say, Qatar gave us a World Cup. It was beautiful.
World class
World Cup. And still talking about world class things at the World Cup. Now it has now been announced that about 80% of waste that was generated from the World Cup are actually being recycled.
It's a beautiful thing, especially when we look at where we are now in the world. Mm-hmm. How we struggle to understand the issues around climate change and all of that. And if a tournament of this magnitude, apart from the impact of recycling 80% of the waste generated, the awareness that it creates, will go a long way towards making people understand how important it is to deploy the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. And so for this reason, look at one of the stadiums that they built with containers and they dismantled it. And that's beautiful. Yeah. These are things that we are talking about. The fact that you can use things and reuse them and all of that, thereby saving Mother Earth. You're conserving resources. So kudos to everybody that's behind the idea to recycle about 80% of the waste generated.
Qatar quickly World before Cup. We go, still talking about climate change. I saw news today. There was something that we had talked about the blizzard happening in the United States, and sadly, the death toll is increasing. It's about 50 people now that have lost their lives in different happenings. There's places where the snow are literally crippled transport completely. Nobody can move out. And whether we like it or not, is an aftermath of climate change. Now we have extreme weathers. We've had a lot this year, from the floods, from all the way from the Pakistan to, from Asia to the Americas, down all the way to Africa. Yeah, we had major floods. Even Nigeria got way too much flood than they would have even expected. Also, moving from that, then we saw heat wave. There was a lot of talks about heat wave. Now it is the extreme cold weather that we see now. This year has not been wonderful when it comes to weather. And the bottom line, by the time we go back and forth, what everybody keeps saying or what it is looking at, it is global warming and the climate change and everything that is affecting these things.
Mankind has, tried to bring development in his own way, but in the process we've ended up destroying the future. We have impeded the future with science and technology. But science and technology can also still be deployed to help restore things and bring things back up to speed. It is not a nice thing to hear that over 50 people, have lost their lives on this blizzard in America. And these are the ones that are reported. There'll be other cases that would probably fall through the cracks. So we are really hoping that things are sorted, and we all work together towards protecting ourselves and our future. And condolences to those who have lost their loved ones to the blizzard. And you made mention of how severe weather has been. One of the strangest ones is the fact that there's flooding in one part of the world and there's extreme drought in another part.
Yeah.
And that just drives me crazy. There were some lakes in America that virtually went dry.
Dried up. It just dried up, yeah.
And this is a pointer to how difficult things are. And mankind really needs to step up.
We need definitely to step up. Let's come back to Nigeria and let's talk a bit of politics. And before we go on a lot of things, news just broke a few minutes ago that the Labour Party has now appointed a former political advisor to President Olusegun Obasanjo, Mr. Ake Oshitoko, as the new Director General of the presidential campaign.
That's a fantastic appointment by the Labour Party there. It's a huge one. Ake Oshitoko is an egghead, is a smart person, is someone that you want to have in your corner, and that's a pointer to how Labour Party is serious about the elections. Again, he also points to the affiliation to people like Obasanjo.
Okay.
That this is probably something from his stable. Like okay, I'll give you a guy. Don't worry. This one is out. Let me give you this other guy, and I'm sure he will deliver.
I think that for their sake, I hope that this person does not have pending court cases as well.
I like that.
I'm just saying, I think I will still say, I think putting Doyin Okukwe that has such a huge case and all that was a goof on their part. Really, he could have still been part of that campaign. His name just did not have to be right there and there. Of course, it was. And the bottom line, they were dragged in.
But they probably also didn't expect that. A lot of people don't expect some court cases to come up. At times, it's just there.
Oh, okay. Anyway, still talking about Labour Party, and before we go to, there's another poll. There's a lot of polls flying back and forth. Before we go to that, still talking about Labour Party, a particular billionaire has got people talking, and where he had now said that he had warned Peter Obi to withdraw from the race, but that he would not listen. And now there are a lot of people coming for him because this man has now endorsed the PDP presidential candidate, saying he's the one that is going to be Nigeria's president. And it went further to go on and say that when former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is done, then the governor of Anambra State is the one that is being pushed as the president from the southeast.
If you look at his permutations and calculations, right? If Atiku Abubakar becomes president next year and runs for 8 years, by the time he's done, Soludo, if he runs for 8 years as governor too, would have finished a few months before, and in time for him to even start his campaign. Sure you get. So it's a nice projection by someone who believes in the PDP and Atiku and all of that.
Governor Soludo is not a PDP.
Yeah, but we've always known that those things don't really matter when push comes to shove. You know, when it gets down to politics, people would jettison, the party loyalty and allegiances and go anywhere they want to go.
But my own is because is that he's even trending on Twitter, and I'm wondering why people are angry. And for me, it's more like it's his opinion. He's allowed to have an opinion.
So a lot of people have invested their emotions, their funds, their time, and all of that into the Peter Obi project. You get.
Yeah.
And one of the sentiments is that Arthur Eze and Peter Obi are from the same state, Anambra.
So
and
is he
people are
obliged? He's under no obligation to do anything.
Yeah. So people are angry that he's not supporting one of his own.
See,
they are also of the opinion that this is why non-Igbos will say, oh, you see, that even his own people are not supporting him.
So that's the problem.
So that's why a lot of people are not happy.
This is why I have a problem with people, is the fact that if everybody votes across ethnic lines and geopolitical zones, we will not have a president, and that's the honest truth.
Yeah, but that's why some of Peter Obi supporters are also saying that, that they don't even care about the fact that the man is from Anambra.
That's the problem.
What they're saying is that there are other non-Igbos that are supporting Peter Obi, so that whatever
it's the same way that other
it doesn't matter.
Northerners or non-Northerners that are supporting Atiku or Kwakwanso, and there are other non-Southerners that are supporting the likes of Tinubu, that supports the likes of Showore. Everybody has a right to support whoever they support. And the honest truth is that if we do not look across ethnic lines or geopolitical zones, and we see ourselves as we're just Nigerians that come from different states, you won't be triggered if somebody says because it comes off as you're being entitled, but you expect, if you are going off like that, but you actually expect that people from the southwest, people from the south, people from the northeast, northwest, north central should vote for your candidate, because those people also need to vote for your candidate to win, because if it's just southeast, it cannot even go anywhere.
Yeah, so
that's hypocritical.
Yeah, for a section, we can't say it's the entire.
No. I'm saying for people that are angry,
the ones that are
coming up with the angle that if they're from the same state, he is under no obligation. And like I said, he knows what he saw, and it's his opinion. And everybody's angle or opinion, it depends on what you see, the angle of stuff that you see. Nobody ever in the world ever sees the whole true picture.
Yeah.
So it's whatever he sees that he has based his reaction on, and I think we should respect everybody's everybody's opinion. Really, that's it for me.
Yeah, but a lot of people are really emotional about it. They're coming up with
And then maybe if we stop being emotional and we're being realistic.
Like someone tweeted, his handle is Francis Cardinal Arinze. I'm not sure if it's the real Cardinal Arinze, But he says, Mr. Otto Eze's comment on Peter Obi is a clear sign that 2023 elections will be a tussle between the poor and the rich, the youth and elders. It's interesting.
You definitely
Olisa Metu, remember him, the former PDP spokesperson. He's also, weighed in, and of course he's, said that he said some things about.
I think that it's unfair for the for you to actually say a lot of things against Mr. Arthur Eze. I think it's unfair because for the sole reason that you do not expect only Southeasterners to vote for Peter Obi is the exact same way you should expect. Okay, take for example, I remember a few weeks ago the governor of Imo State that announced, I think it was when Bola Tinubu went to Imo State, that they said there's a few people that had donated money to the Bola Tinubu campaign. Do you understand? And then do you now come up and say that because these people are from the Southeast, they're traitors? Or they no. I think it's like completely unfair.
We will grow to the point where maybe we can completely blur the lines and stop thinking along.
We should we honestly.
But again, people will also express their emotions. We cannot all have the same reaction to the same situation.
Yeah. Anyway, so talking about the Labour Party, the Labour Party has now rejected this day's poll, which this poll is supposed to be in favor of Atiku and Tinubu, kind of definitely over Peter Obi and Kwakwan. So according to the poll, I actually saw it was very in depth. Give it to them. I don't know how they came about those polls, but it was very, very detailed. There was a per state analysis to per region to, and they were talking about how the way he's looking now, that Atiku has about 23 states where he can get 25%. Bola Tinubu has 20 states conveniently. And of course, that is looking like, if it is the way it is now, according to this day, that there's most likely going to be a runoff election between the PDP candidate and the APC candidate. Now, this day totally eliminating the Labour Party or the NNPP from making any real progress at the polls.
Yeah, as in when it comes to brass tacks now, they're saying that, okay, this is what it would be. For instance, if you take a look at the projections for Abubakar Atiku in the north central part of Nigeria, they're saying that it would get 35% in Plateau State, it would get 25% in Benue, 25% in Nasarawa, 35% in Niger, 35% in Kogi, and 40% in Kwara. Now, for Kwankwaso in those states, they're giving him 5-10% in that order. You get. For Obi, they're also giving him high scores. In Plateau, they said 35%. In Benue, 30%. And that's Benue, where the governor just recently endorsed him openly for president. And in Nasarawa, 25%. But in Niger, 10%, Kogi 15%, Kwara 10%. Now for Tinubu, they're saying that in Plateau State, Tinubu will get 20%, Benue 20%, Nasarawa 30%, Niger 35%, Kogi 35%, Kwara 35%. So based on these day polls in North Central, you see that the elections are close.
Yeah.
But
it's still tilting
tilts towards PDP and APC, Atiku and Tinubu.
Which honestly, my own opinion, I think that, I've always said it that give it to, yes, APC is the ruling party. Yes, they've been ruling for 8 years. But the honest truth is that you cannot remove the 20-something years of the PDP. They were in power for 16 good years. We've known the PDP at least for is about 24 years now, being a party still standing. Even the APC has gone through a lot of modifications to be where they are today. For them to even uproot a sitting government, they literally took a lot of parties to come together. So that's why I don't remember who I was talking to that. I feel that it is completely insulting for you to wish away the PDP or more sorry, or more like it is fully really for you to underrate the PDP. It is underrate the PDP at your own peril.
Yeah.
Even with the inner issues that they have at the moment.
Yeah, quickly, because I know that we want to move on. Still taking a look at the THISDAY election center projections for the 2023 elections. In the southeast, 5 states are captured, obviously. And the projections in Enugu, Ebonyi, Imo, and Abia for Peter Obi is 60%. 60%. In Anambra, 70%. In Anambra, they are projecting 0 for Kwankwaso in the entire southeast. And they're saying that Bola Tinubu will get 5% in Anambra, 10% in Abia, 15% in Imo, 15% in Ebonyi, and 10% in Enugu. While for Atiku, 10% in Anambra, 15% in Abia, 20% in Imo, 15% in Ebonyi, and 15% in Enugu. This is what they're saying. But in the southwest, Tinubu is projected to get 45% on the average. Like Lagos, 45%, Ogun, 45%, Ondo, 45%, Ekiti, 45%, Oyo, 40%, Osun, 35%. In the same Osun, they are also giving 35% to Atiku,
yeah,
and 5% to Peter Obi, 5% to Kwankwaso. You get
that's it. But before we leave that story, the former Director General of the Labour Party has now come out to say, basically, is attacking THISDAY the polls, and he tweeted that, "I wish to categorically say, with a very high sense of responsibility and objectivity, that these projections are false, bogus, and do not represent the actual situation on ground across the country. They're essentially aimed at misinforming the public." He said Peter Obi will win and lead massively in the southeast, averagely 70%, including all the states in the south-south. In the southwest, Peter Obi will win minimum of 40% in Lagos State, 25% in Ogun, Oyo, Ekiti, and Ondo. Osun State, a minimum of 15%. Northwest, minimum 40% in Kaduna, and no less than 10% of all other 6 states, mainly because of Igbo residents. Okay. Do we have an Igbo? Are we looking for an Igbo president? Anyway, he says that THISDAY projections ignore many important electoral parameters that operated in our polity for more than 60 years. Without any doubt, Peter Obi will score 25% in no less than 24 to 25 states, including Taraba, Adamawa, Gombe, and will lead all the other 3 numerically. He is the candidate to beat.
Yeah. There are a lot of reactions also. Let's take a few reactions from people on Twitter. There is a guy, Temi Richie, he says, "You'll be shocked that Tinubu will lose Lagos State." And someone responded to him, "Bold of you to think that, oh." You get? At Unabros, Uche, that's his handle, he says, "Fakest poll ever. All numbers rounded up to multiples of 5. No information about sample size, zero science, 100% beer parlor, abi wadata numbers. Atiku don't pay heavy for this one.
Honestly, I do not doubt that was equal, because honestly, really and truly, when we talk about polls, how many, what did you sample, all that information really wasn't there. So yes, that could actually be doubted.
What if they have that information but they didn't publish it?
They should. I really think they should. So it would also give more authenticity to their work.
Another person, Richard Ade, at Richard Owen says, all these Obi supporters need to be studied in the university. Believing that Obi can contest with the likes of Atiku and Tinubu successfully in this present Nigeria is still baffling me. You know?
Also,
that's from Richard Ade.
A presidential media aide, Bashir Ahmad, has also disagreed with the projections. Basically, he's saying that that it is hilarious that this, basically what they said, is actually very, very hilarious. He wrote, hilarious. So Obi can get up to 70% in Anambra, and you projected our candidate can to get 45% in Lagos. You're really joking. Ashiwaju will get 80% plus in Lagos. Lagosians are for Jagaban.
You know, so again, this is my take. All these polls, ANAP polls, this one polls, and that, take it with a pinch of salt.
Exactly.
Don't get carried away. Don't get swayed by any of these things. Eventually, some of them might have called it right, but you will not find out until after the elections.
Yeah.
So the best thing you could do, if you are
face your own
supporting somebody,
ensure
that you campaign more aggressively for your person. Ensure that you get your PVC. Ensure that you vote. You understand? Vote. Make sure you vote. Don't get swayed by all these polls, because I still have my own misgivings about polls. There was a day we were talking about one poll, the earliest polls that we talked about, and you know, we got attacks on YouTube. People are like, oh, because it's you know, it's supported a particular candidate, and they felt that we shouldn't have analyzed that poll and pointed out certain things about that poll. But we did it, and we're doing it again now. They're saying, do not get carried away by polls. Yeah, they're important. They're stuff if it's done. But again, it's difficult for us to get a completely, you know, neutral platform to carry out a detailed pan-Nigeria poll. You understand? Yeah. But that's where we are on this one. So that's our stance.
Anyway, still talking about politics. Sorry, quickly. Now, it has been announced that the G5 governors have jetted off to London for a strategic meeting. There's talks about how, in fact, I think I saw a headline that 3 people are out to support Tinubu. There are 2 people that are supporting Peter Obi. We know for a fact that at least one of the governors had come out a few days ago to announce that he was supporting Peter Obi in this.
That's Governor Autumn.
Governor Autumn, yeah. So it's very interesting. We would see what's going to come out of it. My only question is that you are governors of 5 states. There's nowhere else to talk in those 5 states. That's to go all the way to London. Okay.
Yeah, and this is where our politics has evolved to. You know, they actually used to do a lot of this traveling in the past, but it was not this reported and it wasn't discovered and all of that. And you take a look at the setup and the permutations. They are non-governors who have joined this group. You know, there's another name, Integrity Group or something. You have Bola Tinubu's sworn enemy, Bode George. He's never going to support Bola Tinubu. He is a part of them. Donald Duke, who of course is not a supporter of Tinubu or Atiku. I think Donald Duke is supporting Peter Obi.
Peter Obi at the moment, yeah. So,
you know, so you take a look at all these other people. There's Mimiko also who has joined the fray. it's going to be an interesting outcome
Definitely.
for whoever they decide to support, wherever it is. But again, are we overhyping them, or are we
Actually, really do it.
you know, I like one of the things that they are fighting for, which is the the fairness in the political sharing
Which
system.
I think that I've said over and over again was a little too late.
Yeah,
The-
but
the
I still like the fact
those fightings should have been done before the
I
primaries.
agree, but I still like the fact that they have stuck to their guns, and this is one of the major things that we, apart from whoever they decide to support or not support, the fact that the PDP said that they were zoning the
And they did
presidency
not stick to
the
it.
south, the fact that the chairman of the party and the presidential candidate are from the same northern part of Nigeria, the fact that a Nigerian president is about to spend 8 years uninterrupted from the northern part of Nigeria, and the
you're
PDP is pushing for another
Yeah.
so 16 years uninterrupted. That's what they're looking at, or at least 4 years in the first 4 years. Regardless of what that is, no matter what people say, no matter how we say we don't want ethnic sentiment
Those
or
things
whatever,
are going to
some things
cause-
are going to help the bonding of Nigeria when we,
Run a
agree,
more inclusive.
yeah, to allow it. But again, constitutionally, you have a right to contest.
Anywhere, really,
Nobody's telling
anywhere.
you not
Nobody's
to.
stopping anybody at the end of the day. Quickly, let's move on a little bit from politics, and let's move on to something else. Basically, just an update of something we talked about yesterday. This was we had reported the killing of a Lagos resident by a police officer on Sunday, Christmas Day. Now, the Lagos State Police Command that we've heard a lot of reports. People have even, the Lagos State Governor had put out a statement. The former Lagos State Governor and the APC presidential candidate had put out a statement. We've seen the Inspector General of Police had put out a statement. The Police Service Commission has also put out a statement talking about this. The NBA had put out a statement as well. Now, the Lagos State Police Command has now said that they had said yesterday that 3 people were arrested. The person that committed the crime and 2 others that were also there. Now they're saying that they are going to release the remaining 2 people today as they were not involved in the crime. It said that they had arrested Vandy and 2 other officers attached to Ajiwe police station in Aja area of Lagos. The Lagos State PRO had said that they were immediately taken into custody, and during investigation, now that 2 police people, the other 2 policemen are going to be released today after giving their testimonies to the command, but that the ASP, who is alleged to have killed the lawyer, is still in custody.
Yeah, that's what is important, because after all of these situations, it is justice that people seek. People want that sense of justice, and people want the real, justice to be served, not some kind of papering over cracks and trying to potty things and make it look better than it is. It is a messy situation. It is a nasty, dirty situation. Whoever this policeman is, he must be brought to book.
He definitely has been brought.
However, this happened. I think we even glossed over the other case, or maybe it came late.
The other one, I want us to finish this one because there's an update on that one as well.
And the reason why I linked up to the previous murder by a policeman from the same police station in the same locale is that dealing with this guy will bring justice, but it won't stop another policeman from doing this until we bring certain things in. I asked a question on Twitter yesterday, and I'm asking that question again, and I'm hoping that I'll get answers. Do Nigerian policemen get weapon trained on a regular? I assume that they get weapon trained at the police academy. But do they continue
with it?
Because handling a weapon is not something that you just take for granted. One, do you recall the video? I think it was during the last elections when a soldier, a Nigerian soldier, and a policeman were given the same kind of weapons.
Oh, yeah.
And they were told to dismantle and reassemble.
And the policeman literally had no idea what he was doing.
The soldier dismantled the gun, reassembled
it in a few seconds, yeah.
What I am talking about here is training. What kind of training?
Do
they do target practicing? Or are they just using us as targets?
Yeah, what was the mode of engagements? All those things, are they actually...
Like, for instance, let's even assume that Bolanle and her husband were trying to escape. Let's assume. For the purpose of argument. You don't shoot at them. You could have taken their number, like Dolupo kept on saying yesterday, there are cameras everywhere.
There are cameras everywhere
And
now.
if you wanted to even shoot...
Stop them.
What about the tires?
The vehicle. Shoot the tires of the vehicle. Like, it's not even that difficult. Like, it's... If I'm not a policeman or anything, I know that even they say, even people that are running physically, they tell you to shoot the person's leg.
I was at an event and there were some policemen there to provide cover. And the way they sat down and one had his gun across his lap, I just got up stylishly. I just got up and I went to a very far place.
It's a very sad thing because...
I point us to the lack of proper training. And I'm not saying all the policemen are poorly trained, but the bulk of them are. It is glaring.
It's very glaring.
It is glaring.
Whether we want to lie to ourselves or
Another question, Dolupo.
When you see a policeman and you see a soldier, there is a world of difference.
And they are using the same kind of weapons.
Yeah, there's a world of difference.
So why can't we train our police like the soldiers? Another question. How many shooting ranges have you heard of in Lagos? I'm not even going to talk about other states.
Remember there was one in Ibadan that's a short... See, it's a very sad story.
People are dying.
Because it even got worse because there's stories that are now coming out where that this lady was even pregnant. Like, that just makes it sadder. That really makes it sadder. And it was a very, very, very unnecessary, totally avoidable thing. And I think that maybe because she is more of a popular person, that was why. Now, according to the PPR in Lagos, they're saying that the other person that got shot a few weeks before that had already been detained earlier, and that the police officer, and that his investigation is being wrapped up, that all they're waiting for, that once his dismissal order is out, which we know that you cannot charge a police officer to court, he has to come back to being a civilian. So once that, what they're waiting for is dismissal order to come out, and he will be charged to court immediately. I won't say the sad part. The thing is that this other person's case might not have been expedited action so much if this other lady did not die.
Yeah.
So someone else had to die for someone else. I think that, I know that it's not impossible, but I think that the police model needs to be rejigged. It needs a complete overhaul.
I agree.
I saw the statement from the IG talking about how they're going to do more, they're going to this, they're going to that. It's all promises here and there. And the honest truth is, whether we like it or not, it's probably, even if they start now, these things are not going to end immediately. But if it is reduced to the barest minimum.
So everybody needs to lend their voice to this. You have social media, you have WhatsApp, you have everything.
I think I saw a part of it that this particular police officer was, I think, drunk or something. And I'm like, how? I think also for citizens, I think one thing that we should do for safety is also, I think we should reduce the amount of arguments we have with these people.
It's important.
Very important.
Again,
for our own safety.
If that is the case, if he was intoxicated or inebriated or
makes it worse.
The two people that were released should not be released. If they're on duty together and your colleague that's handling a gun is drunk, and you allowed
him to go on with
to continue to operate under the influence of alcohol, you are also culpable. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to be corrected by lawyers that you're a policeman, you're a professional, and your colleague is drunk and he has a gun with him,
and then you don't,
and you still allow him to work.
Exactly.
That means you two, you were probably drunk too. You were probably all drunk together.
Yeah. Very interesting. Anyway, quickly, the Central Bank of Nigeria has now placed 6,047 BVNs under watch for fraudulent transactions.
This is the essence of having the BVN.
BVN, yeah.
This is how, with technology, you can checkmate a lot of things. However, I saw the report. It's a quarterly report that is looking at transactions.
Yeah, and they're really tracking a lot. I think they're about over 11,000 BVNs too that they have now realized that these people are deceased.
Yeah, so with technology, they're tracking that.
At least you can't use those people's accounts to commit funny things.
But they should also announce, the bankers who are culpable, who are allowing or helping these things to happen. They should also reveal how these people are doing these things so that we all can learn from it. But the beauty of having the BVN and all of this is being played up now that in retrospect, they can look at it, but also it should also be used as a preventive measure to, the more awareness that is created about all these banking frauds and things that are being, perpetuated, behind the scenes, the better awareness they create, the better it will be to battle it.
It will be, exactly. So, quickly, before we go, finally, Lagos State government, looks like Lagos State government is on a roll as they have now shut down a part of Wonderland Lagos, where it's said the kiddie section of Wonderland Lagos, an event venue, who they've said that a guest was electrocuted yesterday.
It's a very sad dangerous situation.
Now we don't even know if the person is alive or dead. They've not put out that.
I don't want us to go into this again. No,
no, we don't know. Being electrocuted does not mean you are going to die now. You are just very morbid.
Okay.
But the one that is busting my head is how you use your own money to go and pay somewhere, and then you leave the place injured or dead. That's a very scary thing. Very extremely scary, very scary thing. Now, Lagos State government said they're coming for everybody and anybody, event centers and all that, that if you have any little infraction. They're also talking about how over and over again they had invited the owner of the place. They had talked about how a lot of measures should have been taken and they're not taken.
Now that someone has died, the government has
Nobody
acted.
said they died now.
Okay.
Jesus.
Someone is injured.
Got electrocuted. Let's just leave it at electrocuted.
Injured since the person didn't die.
We don't know if the person died.
But now that something bad has happened.
Exactly. Leave it like that.
I have edited it, Abi. Now that something bad has happened, does it not make this government agency reactionary rather than proactive?
Yeah.
Because if you're saying that you had inspected a site and you felt that there was some things that the person had to do and the person did not do it,
should have been shut down.
Then you allow the person go ahead with business.
It really should have been.
Then something happens. Someone gets electrocuted but not really died yet.
Oh God, we don't know.
In Dolupo's book.
In my books, the person, all the information we got was I was electrocuted, and that's it.
It is a failure on the part of the government.
Of the government, yeah, I agree.
That has allowed a potentially fatal situation to happen. Because if you say you really care about the citizens and you had spoken to the owner of the place, you should have sealed the place.
Seal the place.
At least this person would not be
electrocuted.
Electrocuted.
And that's it. Electrocuted.
In Dolupo's
anyway,
electrocution.
So that note, that is all we able to take. Please, we're still in the festive seasons. Please be safe out there, going out, even going to all these places. Please, let's be safe. And it's going to be fine for everybody. Do enjoy the rest of your holidays. It is the Boom Bar on your Boom Radio NG. We're going to be back again 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow. So have a beautiful day ahead, and Happy New Year in advance.